The winds did not howl, they screamed. The heavens weren't just dark, they bled crimson light like an open wound in the sky. His steed glowed, not with fire, but with the burning certainty that could not be extinguished. He didn't speak, but every ruler, king, and tyrant on earth heard his voice inside their skulls like a whisper from the void. Entire governments crumbled without a sword being drawn. Cities surrendered without battles. He held no weapon, but wore a crown in. That crown was the illusion of control. Those who once wielded power bowed not to him, but to the idea of him. He didn't need to force anyone into submission. The people gave it to him willingly because he promised them what they had always desired: purpose. But they didn't realize that behind his confident stare was not hope, but manipulation. Behind the banners of victory fluttered the first signs of tyranny, disguised as salvation. Then came war, galloping from the east with iron fury. His arrival wasn't just heard to shattered glass in every soul. His horse was blood red, its hooves melting the ground as it rode. His blade wasn't still, it was molten rage. His breath was fire. He didn't need to shout. The sound of every war ever fought echoed around him: Vietnam, World War II, Somalia, the Crusades. War was not a man. He was humanity's hatred incarnate. And where he rode, brothers turned on brothers. Old wounds tore open, and even the peaceful found themselves shaking with primal anger they didn't know they had. He moved through the world like a wildfire. Entire countries disintegrated into civil wars overnight. Lovers strangled each other. Neighbors clutched knives. And in every chaos-filled street, the people screamed, not from fear but because they finally felt alive. War didn't destroy alone. He awakened the darkness we thought we'd buried. Then there was famine. From the west, he came on a black horse that seemed made of bone and ash. The rider was skeletal, gaunt, yet impossibly elegant. His eyes weren't empty, they were bottomless pits of starvation. He didn't swing a scythe, he merely pointed, and entire harvests rotted in seconds. Crops died mid-bloom, rivers ran dry. Cattle fell where they stood. But famine wasn't just the lack of food. He starved the soul. He starved desire. The rich still had their money, but they would trade mountains of gold just for a crust of bread. Mothers offered their children to survive. Fathers abandoned their names. Even in places untouched by his hand, people began to feel empty, meaningless. He took from the world not just food, but fulfillment. He devoured dreams. He made billionaires feel like beggars. And all the while, famine smiled, because in that hollow hunger, he saw the true face of humanity, desperate, disloyal, and driven only by what it lacked. And then came death from nowhere and everywhere. His horse was pale, not white, not gray, pale, as if drained of all color, all meaning. The king couldn't ride through cities. He floated. Time stood still where he passed. His cloak wasn't fabric, it was silence. Total, utter, terrifying silence. Not even the wind dared to whisper in his presence. He held no weapon because he didn't need one. His presence alone was enough. The old fell to their knees. The sick died with wide, horrified eyes. The healthy collapsed, confused, and begging for mercy. And the worst part? Death didn't choose. He was fair. He took the guilty and innocent alike. Children, lovers, leaders. Nobody escaped. But he wasn't cruel. He was patient. He waited for each person to look in the mirror and realize everything they clung to: status, fame, wealth, nothing. Death gave them a final gift: clarity. And it was the most horrifying gift of all. Together, the Four Horsemen did not bring chaos. They brought truth. They revealed what was already inside us. Conquest showed how easily we surrender for comfort. War exposed the hatred we tried to hide. Famine reminded us of our endless greed. And death. Death told us the one thing we've even always known and always feared. We will all end, no matter what we build. But there is one thing they could not destroy: hope from the ashes of fallen cities. From the bones of lost generations came the rise of those who refused to break. As a child in a bunker, painting flowers on the wall. A woman with no food, feeding a stranger. A man holding the hand of someone dying, not out of duty, but love. These were the quiet revolutions, the unseen rebellions. The horsemen looked down and saw not just destruction, but resistance, and it terrified them. This episode is not just a tale of terror. It's a wake-up call. Four Horsemen are not fictional. They live in our choices. Every time we manipulate, rage, consume, or ignore life, we summon them. But every time we choose love over power, peace over pride, giving over greed, and life over fear, we push them back. So, ask yourself, right now, what kind of rider are you becoming? The apocalypse is not the end. It's the beginning of truth. Now, what will you do with it? And in the moment it happened, the earth didn't rumble like thunder, it convulsed. Like a dying beast gasping for a last breath, every clock froze, every bird fell silent. Somewhere between the ticking of time and the stillness of eternity, the Four Horsemen arrived not as myths, but as divine forces that had slumbered too long. This was not a prophecy anymore. It was happening right now. From the north came Conquest, a rider cloaked in flowing white robes, adorned not in armor, but in confidence.